I think the Warriors are fake. I think they're fake. I think they don't stink. I think they're a fine basketball team. Don't get me wrong when I say that. They're deep, they're well coached. All those things are true. But you guys mentioned the second creator problem. That's a bigger issue when is Stephen Curry still a legitimate top 10 player in the NBA anymore? We just look at the post All-Star break last year.
Wait, what? Wait, what? What?
Is
What?
Stephen Curry a top 10 player in the league anymore?
Yes.
Post
five-
All-Star break last
top
year,
five,
he's
no.
giving you an inefficient
Probably
23
not.
points per game. In the Olympics, until the final two games, he was not good. And starting the year, he's giving you below 23 points per game. Are we sure he's still a top 10 player in the NBA right now?
100%.
I'm confident in that.
I don't agree with that, man.
Nate-
There's a lot of
Nate-
good players in the NBA
Nate
right now.
better.
And Stephen Curry hasn't produced like a top 10 player this year. He's been really good. It's a very deep team. They play an 11-man rotation. All the role players, high IQ role players, highly connected. But when the middle of the season comes along and Buddy Hield starts going on a crazy cold streak, because he will, because we've seen Buddy Hield do this before, when they need a second creator, all the pressure's on Stephen Curry. It's like, okay, dude, consistently give us MVP Stephen Curry. Are we sure he can do that? I don't know anymore because he was not good in the second half of last year. He is in his mid-30s. You never know when an injury is going to come. And until the final two games in the Olympics, granted, that shot in the last game of the Olympics was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. He hasn't looked like a top 10 player to start this year either. If you don't have a second creator and Stephen Curry is more of a top 15 to 17 player now, I think that shines brighter, that problem.
17? He's a top 17
I
player?
said 15 to 17. Is he better than Donovan Mitchell?
This is what kills me about this conversation. This is what kills me about this conversation. This is where the context is lacking. Because every guy in the top 12, top 10, top 15 has another guy that takes the pressure, takes the leverage off. Because Steph doesn't have that, he looks a lot worse. Mind you, he's probably one of the smallest guys and probably the oldest guy in the top 10, top 15 outside LeBron. He gets the tax. If you put any of those small guards in this situation, they probably don't look the same just like him. They probably are going to fizzle out late in the year. But to say he's not a top 10 player because he hasn't played like that this year, first of all, the first two games, they didn't need him to do it. When they did need him to do it against Boston, against Dallas, he has done it. Last game, they beat him a lot. He didn't need to do that. So there's not 10 players you would take over him to be a number one on the championship team. There just isn't.
Age 36 season, though, guys. Stephen Curry is my favorite player of all time. He's always been my favorite player of all time. This is coming not from a place of, I'm trying to find a reason to crap on Steph Curry. Stephen Curry has been good this year. He's only playing 29 minutes per game. That's great. 11-man rotation. Theoretically, late in the season, glass half full, maybe he'll have more energy middle of the season. I think those are real conversations. But then there's also a conversation. Is he good enough to overcome not having a real second option anymore? I think those two questions can both be true.
Is Kevin Durant good enough to do that?
Is Kevin Durant what?
Good enough to do that?
No.
Do what?
He had a second option.
Overcome without a second creator.
No.
I think Kevin Durant can in a way.
For a season? Yeah.
I'm talking within the context of this Warriors team. I'm saying what they're doing right now is absolutely fantastic. They've been great. But when things aren't going their way with the role players, can Steph overcome that? KD, I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't think Steph Curry, if we're going to have the Steph Curry KD conversation 7 years ago, I'm fully on the side of that was Steph Curry's team. I'm not, you know what I mean? That's not the conversation I'm having right now. I'm just wondering, can Stephen Curry still carry that load late into the season? I don't really know because I was watching a lot of Warriors in the second half of last year, and he didn't look like the same player. That's just the truth.
That is valid, but I think you could be a top 10 player without being able to carry not having a second load. And you look at the top 10 players in the NBA.
To a championship? To like a contending status in the Western Conference?
I look at Anthony Davis as a top 10 player, right? I think
Davis is better than Curry right now.
I don't think he can carry a team to the Western Conference Finals without a second option. Now, here's the thing. No, wait, hold on, Riff.
He's a better player. He's not.
Anthony Davis is having his best season offensively of his career right now. 31 points a game.
Yes, but he's also. Go ahead. Yeah, John.
He has LeBron James next to him, which is an important thing to note. When I look at the top 10 players in the NBA, I'm going to give them to you right now. After the top 5, I don't look at one player and say he's confidently better than Steph. If you want to say he's not top 5, that's fair. I think he's on the cusp of it.
Sure,
Me,
that's what I'm saying.
Steph Curry is definitely top 10. I'll give you the names. First up, you don't even have to. I'm not going to stop for these. You know the names: Nikola Jokic,
Yeah.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Fair.
Okay.
That's the 5.
After those 5, not one of these names I'm confident saying insane or better than Steph. Jason Tatum,
Yes.
Anthony Davis,
Yes.
Anthony Edwards,
No. No.
Yes.
This is insane. Oh my God, this is insane.
Keep going. Keep going.
LeBron James,
That's fine.
Yes. Yes.
Kevin Durant,
That's fine.
Yes. KD looked
Devin
good to
Booker.
start the year. That's 50-50.
Who?
Devin Booker.
Oh my God, what are we doing?
It's 50-50. I'd
What are
say
we
it's
doing?
65-35.
I don't know, man. Booker was a better player last year, I thought. I don't know.
Devin
last
Booker
year was
hasn't
second
looked
half
great
worse,
to start the
but
year
He
either.
hasn't, but he just
he's
dropped
also
50
under
today.
23 points a game, and he's not getting the gravity or the efficiency of Steph. Steph's shooting 43% from 3. And
Mhm.
he's also leading the top 5 offense at the same exact time, with Andrew Wiggins and Buddy Hield being his next 2 supporting co-stars. In Phoenix, you have Kevin Durant. I know Bradley Beal is out as well right now, but they're in the middle of the pack offensively. And that's with a variety of fine complementary role players. Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen's not shooting as well, fine. But guys like Tyus Jones playing decent. Suns are an average offense at Devin Booker. Warriors offense is top 5. Partly due to the
Yeah.
depth, but primarily because it's
Plus, all the role players are shooting way above their average right now, too.
in Golden State.
That's a part of Golden State's. That's a part
Wilder.
of Golden.
They're a
How
deep
did,
team.
how did they get open? How did they get open, Wilder? How did they get open?
No, it's a great system, and Steph has great gravity. I'm not denying that. But what I'm saying is it's still inevitable that this lack of shot-creating depth is going to bite them at some point in the season.
Mhm.
Right now, they can play an 11-man rotation. It looks great. It looks beautiful.
It does
That's
look good.
rarely a thing you can do for 82 games. It just
Nope.
rarely is.
I agree. I don't think, but I don't
And
think
we're reliant on guys like Buddy Hield looking like a freaking star right now. And I get it. It's a system built for him. But he's not Klay Thompson. He's still not Klay Thompson.
He can be
I'm
what Klay
still-
Thompson was the last 2 years.
Yeah, but great.
I don't think-
We're
but I
not
don't
get Golden State.
I don't think any of those guys you would take over Steph can turn this team into a championship team either. So
agree.
that's where my
That's why I'm
disconnect-
saying, are the Warriors real or fake? They're
No,
fake.
no. But that's not where the disconnect is. No.
But if there's
no,
like
no,
a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading this team, for example, right? I would have a better feeling about that. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
The first five, I don't disagree with. SGA, Embiid, Giannis, Luka, the Joker. They got it. Like those are the 5 best players in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But we talking about the next 5 up. I'm not confidently sitting here saying, especially Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis hasn't been a number 1 in God knows how long. That's just
Definitely
not him. Yeah, that's
I'm
just
not saying
him.
I would take Anthony Davis as a player over peak Steph Curry. I am not saying that. I totally
We're not even
agree with
talking
you.
about
But the
peak
level
Steph.
of dominance AD's playing this year, I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. And a guy like LeBron James, who's playing some of the best defense he's played in the regular season in quite a few years, while still giving you legit triple doubles. I mean, those are Stephen Curry is still fantastic. What I'm wondering is, can Stephen Curry, when the volume is required to get high, so far this season with the way the Warriors have played, it's gotten easy for him. And that's not a problem. It's not his fault. That's great. And he's a big product of that because they run the system for him. But when things aren't going right and you need your guy, and I get when you need him for 15 games to just be a top 10 player and give you 30 points per game, right? Can they do it for a long stretch of time? We're 12 games into the season, guys. That's all I'm wondering, because second half of last year, he fell off. He just did.
Brother, he did that in 2022 and they won the chip.
And they won the chip that year.
But he's 3 years older now.
Well, I'm saying
But
that's
James-
just him. That's just
He's
him.
3 years
we've
older now.
seen him- James, 2 years older. We've seen him in the second half versus the Celtics post 20 points in a win. We've seen him do it again 2 games later versus the Mavericks or against the Thunder. And then the next game against the Mavericks, score 12 straight points at the end of the fourth quarter, drop nearly 40 points as Luka Doncic is on the other side of the floor. Steph takes over that game entirely. We've seen him against 3 of the 4 best teams in the NBA completely take over games.
No, I
do
totally
believe
get
Steph,
that.
at
But
his
what
age,
I'm
has
saying
declined.
is,
Hold up, let me finish this thought. Steph has declined slightly, and it's partly due to age, but he is still clearly the same type of caliber. And to me, he is still firmly in the top 10.
okay, when Buddy Hield's shooting 1 for 16 from the field in a game, which he's done before, and it's March basketball, and you have to shrink that rotation to 8. I'm just wondering, what is it going to look like at that point? Stephen Curry in the first part of this year has been very good, and the Warriors are fresh legs and they're deep, and that's fantastic. And I get it. He did have that playoff run after falling off in the second half of 2022, but he was 33, 34. He's 36 now, guys. And I mean, he didn't have the opportunity to show for himself in the playoffs last year, but we're still an extra year removed from that. I'm turning into Max Kellerman with Tom Brady's cliff theory right now, but I'm skeptical of it. I'm skeptical of that. And that's why I think the Warriors are quote unquote fake, because I don't think, while Stephen Curry is great, he's still a legit all NBA player. If they don't have enough secondary creation and the role players, when they get in a little slump, because role players do that, how will they look? We haven't seen that really yet. So that's all I'm going to say. That's more of a question for January, February, March.
But I'm confused though, because do you have questions about the team or him being a top 10 player?
I have questions about both.
See, and this is where the disconnect, because if you're talking about the team, I agree with you. I think when you get those Buddy Hield droughts and when you start to see fizzle in that offense, for sure, like 100%. But I don't think that's an indictment on who Steph is as a player. And I think
I don't disagree, but what I'm saying is, when that moment comes, can he respond to the same way as he once did as a legitimate superstar player? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, Jason Tatum was...
Because they don't have a secondary guy like a Jaylen Brown who can take the pressure off of him like a Jason Tatum can. He has to be... There's going to be a point in the year, I think he's going to have to be Superman. And will we see the same Superman when the legs get a little tired in February, March, April? Because we have two examples of the drop in the second half of the year.
Wilder, you just made my point easier. I
think we agree and disagree in the same time.
You just said they don't have a Jaylen Brown to come save them when their star players shooting up tour dates, right? That's what you just said.
But only mega stars, like top 3 players in the world, can really consistently.
I agree with you. But you just said in the same breath you would take Tatum over Steph because you don't think Steph can do it with this roster. But
no, I think Tatum at this point is a little more dynamic over the course of the season. I do, but that's not very important in the conversation.
Dynamic. I don't even know what that means. I don't know.
I think Jason Tatum. I think Jason Tatum, with his highs, with his defense, with his ability to create space off physicality, which is something he's gotten better at this year. I think what we're seeing from Jason Tatum is peak Jason Tatum. I think it's sustainable over the year. It's not like he's shooting like outlier stats and everybody around the team is just like playing way above their level.
I mean, he just shot tour dates in the playoffs. I feel like that matters more than Steph's second half.
He got a ring though, like Steph did in 22.
Okay, Steph was the best player.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know.
I'm not saying I'll take Tatum over peak Steph, by the way. It's not an indictment on Steph.
You just said you'd take Devin Booker over Steph. I don't know how I feel about that.
I would take that one back. I'll take Steph over Booker. But
I think Steph is clearly very much still the third best guard in the league. Like just guard. But we'll see.
Luka, Shea.
That's it.
Yeah, point guard. Yeah, he's clear third best point guard.
No, I said guards. I said guards. You can count.
I'm telling you guys, I think we're going to see a pretty awesome version of Ant this year. I'm telling you. I mean, you guys are joking with me in the text and saying, hey, look at Devin Booker brutally outplaying Ant in the second half. What does he do? 20 points, 7 for 9 shooting, locking Booker down in clutch moments, and they win the game.
Who hit the game winner?
Randall. You know who brought them in that position to get that game winner, though, in the second half?
I just wish Devin Booker had some help. That's all I'm saying.
I'll take Steph over Booker still. I was thinking out loud in those moments. But I was clearly thinking out loud in those moments, but I'll give you Steph over Booker, but kind of like Fox last Friday, everybody's trashing Ant about look at Fox getting 60, and Ant's like, hey, watch this when it matters. And Ant's been crazy in the fourth quarter this year, and that's kind of saved us while we have like a million warts to start. So we're chilling.
Yeah, I think we're talking about just in a vacuum, who would you take as your best guy to win a championship? That is not 10 guys, but if you're just talking regular season, a lot of the young guys should, in theory, probably play better than most of these old dudes. So I don't hate that. AD is probably the best player on the Lakers right now. In a playoff series, I fully expect LeBron to be the guy.